Hello and welcome to Georgia Bulldogs Live here on the Georgia Voice of College Football. Georgia is coming off a victory over the Kentucky Wildcats, 35-14. And this is our instant reaction. I'm your host, Matt Green, my co-host over there, Bo Underwood. Bo, how you feeling?
Feeling all right, Matt. It was I feel like we saw most of what we needed to see from this game. Georgia, I think they covered the spread, right? Barely. So, yeah,
They did, yeah, it was 20 and a half.
16 straight wins over Kentucky. How are you feeling?
Yeah, feeling good. Obviously, this rivalry of Georgia Kentucky means so much to both of us. I think they said, what did they say on the broadcast? It was like the 70 something year in a row. I think these two teams have played, or 50 something year in a row. So that is a bummer to that from that respect. But so this will be the last time Georgia Kentucky play every year. But yeah, it's just this. I would say this was kind of best case scenario. For me, maybe not best case scenario, like you could have beat them 42-0 or something. There was some good, there was some bad for sure. In general, I think one of the biggest things I wanted to see was Ryan Puglisi. Like I just wanted to see Ryan Puglisi play some snaps in this game because that meant we were blowing Kentucky out and it was an easy win. And we got him for way more than I thought.
Yeah.
Like to see him come in at the end of the third quarter.
Yeah.
But no, just in terms of like a victory cigar. Not that I'm talking about a quarterback controversy or anything. But yeah, I mean, they were able to run the ball again well. You see the stats there, 180-45. Georgia dominated on the ground. That was basically going to be Kentucky's only way to stay in this game was if they were able to run the ball. And then Georgia 9 of 12 on third down, a whole lot better than it was a week ago. But and I guess I don't know if we want to. I don't want to just throw everything out there, just right here at the top. But just in general, it was like a good, easy win. But like, I feel like I don't know. It's been hard to come by recently. Yeah. It feels like as a Georgia fan.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, you look at the Kentucky game last year; they almost lost. Georgia probably should have lost that game. They played really bad, and even against Marshall and Austin Peay, like they've had their moments where they've looked dominant, but there have also been times where like it hasn't been as easy as maybe you'd like to see it. But and there were some things this game that I think they could have done a better job of too. But for the most part, yeah, I mean it's a big win in the anytime you can get a win in the SEC, even if it's over Kentucky. I mean that's a really physical team. Mark Stoops has been there forever, and you got to take those. You definitely got to take those.
Yeah, for sure. And it was nice to see. Just I feel like the offense looked dynamic. You know, there was they're like just put up 35 points. I feel like kind of basically, obviously, you took the foot off the gas. You brought in the second string quarterback at the end of the third quarter, but just kind of the way they did it, very efficient. I haven't even looked at the drive by drive to this point, but I know you scored touchdowns on the first two drives of the game. And then it was looking pretty easy there on the third drive until Gunner threw the interception. That was really the one bad thing the offense did like the whole time. Like I know they have the two turnovers, like the 2-2 turnovers. I feel like doesn't really tell the story because of Puglisi throwing that pick late. And when Georgia got its turnovers too, it's crazy kind of how quick this game changed. Like, what did you think about the incomplete pass into the first half that they called on their tight end?
That was a catch. If I were a Kentucky fan, I would have been livid about the way that half ended. I mean, they should have had 7 points there, and they ended up with 0. I mean, I feel bad for their kicker missing that kick, but that was one of those plays that like they were reviewing it, and I was just like, what are we even reviewing? Like, how is?
Yeah, I will say this. I will say it's consistent with the way the catch has been called for the last I don't know decade or so. I don't know. Whenever you have to go back to Calvin Johnson, whatever that catch was, whatever year that was, when we just started overthinking.
The Bears one?
Yeah. What was that? Like 2010? I don't know. That was so long ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, like one of the worst calls of all time. But it's like ever since then we've started overthinking what a catch is and everything. I feel like how they call it, it's like controlling it to the ground. Like if you're not a runner, you have to control it to the ground is kind of my understanding. And it's like he wasn't a runner. He got like the 2 feet in and like went straight to the ground. Like you had to complete the catch, whatever. That definitely like impact. Like, that's what 1st and goal at the 8, I think, with like 30 something seconds left. Like it's definitely a good chance they get 7 points there. Instead, they get nothing, and they're getting the ball to start the second half.
Yeah.
Instead, they miss the field goal, get nothing. I don't know what Joe Tessitore trying to jinx that man. Talking about how many in a row he hit and everything.
Yes.
But then you get the turnover to start the second half. That was the first drive of the second half, right? CJ Allen's forced fumble. So that was a big time play. And then Georgia scores a touchdown, and it's like over. So you went from like a minute left in the second quarter, like, is Kentucky going to make this a game? And then 5 minutes into the third quarter, it's 28-7. It's ball game.
Yeah, I mean that's football for you, and it really did look like for a while that, I mean, I never felt like the game was in serious jeopardy or anything just because of the talent disparity between these two teams. But yeah, there was a point where like Kentucky was really looking like they were going to make something happen. I mean, they had that drive at the end, should have gotten them within 4, and I mean they even picked up a first down on their first drive of the half, which I know is not a big deal, but they got a first down. They were moving the ball, and then they fumbled, and that's it. I thought, I mean, that was Georgia's first touchdown off of a turnover all year. They had only had 3 points off turnovers the whole season before that. So that's a good thing that you want to see if you're Georgia, is turning those turnovers into points. Because when you get them, like you've got to do something with them.
Yeah, I'm with you. And I like when I would look at stats back in the day, not back in the day, like I'll say as recently as last year, because Vanderbilt is just different now. Which got a lead on Alabama early. I think they just turned it over actually. But we won't do play by play here. But like I would not count Vanderbilt stats when I was looking at like conference stats. Yeah. It's like I'm trying to get a gauge of who the best teams in the conference are. I just try to throw out those FCS games versus Chattanooga where teams throw. It's like I would throw out the Vanderbilt stats too. Kentucky might currently be that team where we just throw out the stats that I don't know. They might be that bad because Georgia was doing some things in this game that was kind of like, if this was a good team at all, that's probably a completion or something like that. Or if there's decent quarterback play here, like I was really worried about the way Georgia was covering the tight ends in this game. It felt like just, I don't know how many times they converted on. It says 3 for 11 on third down, 2 for 3 on fourth down. I would have thought they converted 3 or 4 fourth downs on that one drive near the end of the game. It felt like just Georgia couldn't get off the field. What was that drive?
It was like almost
20 plays, 79 yards or 829. Yeah. It's funny. They kind of did this. I think we talked about this. They did like the same thing in that 2021 game. I think Georgia was up like 31-7 or something. And they go on like this 11-minute drive in the fourth quarter. It's like, there's no serious intention to win the game. You're just trying to like make it look a little closer. You just take off 9 minutes of the fourth quarter basically, and you got and that's the one that ended in the interception too. So Ellis Robinson padding his stats a little bit.
That was a really nice pick, man. I mean, he looked like Michael Jackson getting the tiptoes in there.
It was nice athleticism, but in terms of just a desperation, just throwing the ball up in the air. A pretty terrible throw.
It was an impressive play by Ellis. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of funny to that like an 8-minute drive like that can be viewed as like a white flag of sorts. But that's kind of what it felt like, because Kentucky was doing that last week too, where like they were down big the whole game. And then they just like started running it and like sustaining drives that way. And it's just like, that's just the ultimate sign of like, we can't do anything.
You guys trying to get out of here? Come on, let's. We're all trying to get out of here. Let's just continue the game. I remember a team in a Division III team my brother played, and like they had this baseball team that was losing by like 20 runs, and they were eventually told the other team, they're like, "Hey guys, CC's closes at like 9. Like, can we just go ahead and let's just go ahead and get out of here, so we can get the team to CC's Pizza after the game." But yeah, that's what it felt like. Kentucky just kind of was ready to get out of here. I felt like Gunner looked good in this game.
That one pick though.
The pick wasn't good, but I don't know if he just didn't see the safety, he just kind of threw it right to him. But the way they used Gunner in the run game in this one, was just kind of, I feel like how Georgia has to use Gunner, and we had that 3rd and 1 at one point that we just did QB sneak right up the middle with Gunner. It's like, I don't know if I and all of the other Georgia fans were thinking it, but I was just like, I wish we would have just done that on 4th down against Alabama a week ago. I will say the one bad I'll say about Mike Bobo, just take out the Cash Jones side to side run. Just take it out of the playbook. That's we don't want to see that. I think 2 weeks in a row now that we've run that play twice for about -9 yards. Let's just take that one out of the playbook. But you saw Cash Jones out of the backfield. That's what that guy can do. If you want to get the ball in the pass game, he can do that. The one catch for 16 yards. Chauncey Bowen's looking good again. 15 for 70. What I say? Gunnar Stockton 6 for 48 and 2 touchdowns on the ground. Nate Frazier did get some carries in this one. Was able to get back on the field. First time he saw action since he fumbled in the 2nd quarter last week. And then that was pretty much it, because Josh McCray got a couple carries, didn't do much. And I don't know how many times this has happened in football. I don't have the Elias Sports whatever thing that they look up all the information. Almanac, is that what it is? But a game where a team had 5 touchdowns, 4 rushing touchdowns, none of the rushing touchdowns by a running back, and then a receiving touchdown that wasn't to a wide receiver or tight end. I don't know if anyone's I don't know what the stats are on that, but that was kind of weird. Dylan Bell with the 2 rushing touchdowns in this one. Dylan Bell with the sick catch down the sideline too. I'm sure all the boomer Georgia fans were out there. All the Georgia fans above, like, I don't know, at least 50 when Oscar Delp had that one catch. Is like, we got to get our tight ends involved. The old people seem to love the tight ends, but in this respect, I'll agree. Like, Oscar Delp, man, he was moving on that. Like, what is that? His 2nd catch of the season? I feel like Oscar Delp has hardly touched the ball this year. We've gone the last 2 games without the tight ends making a catch, I believe. Was that the stat I think I saw earlier this week?
Delp's got 3 catches on the year.
3 catches. So, yeah, you saw him. And then speaking of tight ends, Elias Williams, man, that dude looks different. Yeah. I'm excited about the future of Elias Williams. 3 catches for 48 yards in this one.
Yeah, that Delp play was just a great reminder of how athletic that guy really is, because, he caught that ball and just ran past 3 guys. Like that, your tight end, the guy that's that big, Oscar Delp is like 6'5", 250. Like, he was moving. Yeah, Elias looks crazy. The game just made me sad about Ethan Barber, man. I just wish that Ethan Barber was out here too, but no, Georgia's got a complete stable of tight ends for sure. Obviously, I'm not going to bring up the BB guy here. I'm not going to invoke that name because I know it. But that's definitely one of the strengths of their team, like that they can just live in 12 personnel and do whatever they want out of that. I don't think Lucky caught a pass or anything, but yeah, that's it was good to see Oscar Delp make a play like that, because he can. And I wonder if they're going to make more of an effort to get him the ball more as the season goes on.
Yeah, especially I think at one point I saw the numbers on what Gunner's numbers were on, the whatever inside 5 yards versus 5 to 15 yards, and then anything above 20. Like, he's clearly more accurate with the short stuff. So you'd think weapons like Lucky and Oscar Delp could get more involved there. And Brock Bowers isn't Voldemort or anything. We can mention his name. I will say, I think I've been so conscious of not comparing him to Bowers that when I saw him in this, I was like, maybe he's closer than I thought. I don't know. He looked pretty explosive on that catch. So he is obviously a good athlete that I think creates a mismatch for a defense. So I would like to see, the 2 tight ends Georgia specifically has with Lawson Lucky and Oscar Delp. I feel like they are weapons that probably need to be utilized more. But we're also a team that's been able to run the ball a lot better this year. So it's the passing game just isn't as, essential. It feels like Georgia's kind of taking what the defense gives them in the passing game, and because they're able to just establish the run on every team they've played so far in the SEC.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not like last year where it was really just Carson Beck save us for most of the year. I mean, they were living and dying by Beck pretty much the whole season last year, and then he got injured, and that was kind of the end of that. But yeah, last week I think the run game really arrived in a big way against Alabama, but this game kind of served as just more confirmation. I think this looks like Chauncey Bowen's backfield. I mean, he's been their best running back all season. It's good that Frazier got back out there, but I have no problem with relegating Frazier to a supporting role until he can, I don't want to say until he can get the fumble thing figured out, because what does that even look like? But I think you got to keep riding the hot hand, man. And Chauncey Bowens is definitely the hot hand right now. He looks explosive. He's powerful. He finishes runs, falls forward, does all that stuff. I mean, the running game really looks like it is back in a major way.
Yeah, I'll say I think this team needs Nate Frazier though, because just what the running game is, it's like just there's very few guys that you can just give the ball to 25 times a game and just rely on them to stay healthy all year. Like, I'm all for Chauncey Bowens clearly being the number one guy, but you're gonna need a second running guy to be able to make plays. And Josh McCray, like he's a power guy, but I feel like I don't know that he's that kind of every down guy that can just spell Chauncey Bowens when he's healthy or when he's tired or something. I think you need Nate Frazier to be that change of pace guy.
Yeah.
So hopefully this guy can hold on to the ball. 7 for 34 in this game. I mean, he looks explosive when he's got it. So I still believe that Nate Frazier can contribute to this team. Just he appears to not be RB1, and that appears to not necessarily be a bad thing for the Georgia offense so far. Like Chauncey Bowens has really solidified himself as the best running back in this group, I think.
Yeah, I think definitely he has. And Frazier might still be, in just terms of raw talent, he probably might, he could still be the most talented guy in that group just because of how explosive he really is. But yeah, the thing about this running game this year that they just didn't have last year is like, not only do they have a lot of different guys that they can go to, but like they all have complementary skill sets. You've got Bowens is kind of your, bigger north and south guy. And then you have Frazier as kind of that change of pace, explosive guy. Phillips is your smaller scat back. Cash Jones is your receiving guy. McCray is your pure power guy. And that's to say nothing of Roderick Robinson and Bo Walker, who can also, do those sorts of things. So yeah, it just looks like a very varied running attack, a very versatile running attack. And that's the kind of thing that's going to serve you really, really well as the season goes on. When you have guys that you can go to and you can keep them all fresh because there's so many different ones. Like when you get in November, that's a big deal. And when you get the playoffs, it's a big deal. And I think Georgia was really missing that last year, and that doesn't seem to be the case this year.
Yeah, I'm with you. And then like I don't know, I'm probably a broken record at this point. Gunnar Stockton also has to have some sort of contribution in that run game. And I feel like with all of that, just kind of, that formula, it feels like that's a formula for having a really good run game. And Gunnar Stockton able to get 2 touchdowns. One of them, I guess, was a pass play. I guess were they both? I'm blanking on the second. Were they both pass plays?
He ran for 2 and he threw 1.
No, but I'm saying the first one was a pass play that he took off.
Oh yeah. I don't think the second one was, but yeah,
I can't remember it off the top of my head now.
It was like a 3rd and 5 he took off on.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that's good. That's always good to see. So 15 of 23, 196, a touchdown and a pick for Gunnar in this game. So, what are your thoughts on Gunnar Stockton through 5 games so far this year?
I think he's done what they've asked him to do. Obviously, he threw a pick today that wasn't great, but for the most part, I mean, he's executing the shots down the field when they ask him to take them. He's hitting the screens. He's running the ball pretty well. He's got some power as a runner and got some oomph to him. I don't think that he's a guy that's gonna like by himself elevate your passing attack the same way that Beck did. But there's a lot of really good things that Gunnar Stockton does. I think he does a great job of keeping the offense on schedule, and we've seen he's got the cojones to make big plays and big throws in big moments. I thought he played well enough for them to beat Alabama last week, and obviously, he put everything on the line against Tennessee and helped them win that game too. So, yeah, I would give Gunnar Stockton a positive review overall for the first 5 games of the season.
I think I might argue that this has been like the best case scenario, like that you could realistically imagine that Gunnar Stockton would be to this point so far. Like, I think whatever your expectations were for Gunnar Stockton, if you were all in on him and you wish they would have benched Beck last year to get to Gunnar, I think this is as good as you could have possibly hoped that he would play. I mean, he's sitting now 6 touchdowns, 1 pick through the first 5 games of the season, completing. They haven't added it all up yet, but he was completing 69.7 coming in, 65% in this game. So I'm sure he's sitting at something like 68% on the season. Just under 200 yards for the season on the ground, 5 touchdowns to this point. It just the deep ball has been a part of the offense. Like, it hasn't been Georgia hasn't hit on it as much as we'd like. They haven't been as explosive as we'd like as fans, but it's also like, to this point, obviously they've lost a game, but the deep ball you hit, the one game you've lost this year, if you're going to point to like not enough explosive plays, the big explosive play down the middle of the field to Taylor, like that's not on Gunnar. You know what I mean? So he's basically been able to do everything you could have asked to this point in the season. The Tennessee, I would have never expected. I don't think the biggest Gunnar fan in the world would have expected what Gunnar did against Tennessee. So I would argue this has been the best possible Gunnar anyone could have realistically expected Gunnar Stockton to play through the first 5 games.
Yeah, I think I would agree with that. I mean, he's done just about everything they want him to do. It really does just look like a continuation of how the Texas SEC championship and the playoff against Notre Dame went. I mean, there's definitely more responsibilities on his plate now than there were in those games, but it seems like the idea is generally the same, and he's doing a good job of executing.
For sure. And I say that as a person who was not the biggest Gunnar. I was not all in on Gunnar coming into this season. Like, after the first 2 weeks, I think I was on the record somewhere saying that we still don't know that he's better than Brock Vandagriff at this point, after the Austin Peay and Marshall games. Now I would change my mind that he looks significantly better than Brock Vandagriff ever did. But yeah, I'm really encouraged by Gunnar Stockton to this point. What does that mean when Georgia plays Auburn, when Georgia plays Ole Miss here in the next couple weeks? I think we'll know a lot about this Georgia team going into the next bye week in that before the Florida game. But yeah, I think it's just good that the offense, or I don't personally think the offense is really a question to this point in the season. It is Kentucky, 35 points. It's not like they went off, but it feels like it's been an efficient offense to this point. You're finding creative ways to get guys like Dylan Bell, Zachariah Branch the ball. I trust that this offense is good enough for Georgia to get where they want to get this year. Obviously, they only scored 21 points against Alabama. You gotta be better. You gotta execute. But now the defense is what I'm worried about, and I don't know that this defense is good enough for Georgia to get to where they want to get to. Not through the first 5 games, at least, because this is Kentucky. It's as good of a performance as they've had through the first 3 SEC games, which is a low bar we're setting. But 45 yards on the ground is solid. But I don't know. Cutter Bailey, 25 of 41 for 225 touchdowns and a pick. That's not setting the world on fire by any means, but I don't know. It still felt like Kentucky was just still moving the ball way too much for my liking in this game.
Yeah, I think they absolutely were. I don't know if this is a championship caliber defense, really. I think you saw more of what happened in the Alabama game, which is just the pass rush could not get home. I know that eventually the defensive line had its first sack of the year in this game. I think it was
shout out to Namdi Agboko.
Yeah, so like it's good to have that checked off, I guess. But for the most part, man, I mean, that front four just doesn't get pressure. They just don't get home, and that opens up pretty much every type of other problem on defense that you can have when the quarterback is just sitting there chilling. And like they did a good job today of keying in on the run and just taking it away completely and just forcing Kentucky to beat them through the air, which like you knew they weren't going to be able to do. So that's good, but like when you're playing an opponent that actually can throw the ball and you're not allowed to just like stack the box, stop the run, and then dare them to beat you on 3rd and long when you know that they can't, like what are you going to do? Alabama
Yeah.
last week they got Alabama 13 or 19 third downs, give up 13. And I don't mean to bring up the Alabama game again because it's over with, but I thought more of the same concerns kind of creeped up, even like the corners gave up some plays in coverage, but I really think a lot of that was just because of the time that the quarterback had. Like it's just not a good pass rush, and I don't think today really changed my opinion of that much.
Yeah, I'm still concerned about, how our defensive backs play the ball in the air. It seems like every 50-50 ball is a completion. But 3 for 11 kind of surprised me. It felt worse during the game than 3 for 11, to be honest. Maybe I'll go back and rewatch and realize how many stops Georgia got in this game. But yeah, it felt like Kentucky was able to sustain a lot of drives, even though Georgia was obviously only gave up 14 points. They only had one drive in the first quarter, 5 plays for 16 yards. Then they had the 4-play, 75-yard touchdown, 1 3-and-out, another 3-and-out, and then the 12 plays, 57 yards, the one that ended in the missed field goal before the half. So, I mean, there aren't a lot of drives, I guess, when you look at it. It's just the standard we're kind of expecting from a Georgia football defense, but it's really outside of, you had the touchdown drive. So you had the 2 touchdown drives, and then the longest 2 drives of the game, the 20 plays and the 12 plays, both ended in no points for them. So I guess you got to give the defense the credit for bending and not breaking, but it doesn't feel like an elite unit right now. And maybe I'll say this, and I think other people have said something similar. Let's go all the way back. You can probably keep going back even further than I'm going, but 2018 Clemson, 2019 LSU, 2020 Alabama, 2021, 2022 Georgia would smoke every single team in college football right now.
Oh, yeah.
And so you don't have to be as good as one of those teams to win a national championship. And maybe we have to recalibrate our expectations accordingly. Mm-hmm. And it's just going to be a dogfight for anyone. And games are going to be a little more like the NFL, and so many games come down to that final drive of the game. But right now it is, I don't feel great about where Georgia's defense is right now. And it's Kentucky. Yeah. This is a good performance and everything. I obviously feel good about today's as good as, I guess maybe not as good as possible, but I feel fine about today's performance. 35-14, you covered the spread, you dominated, but there's still some concerns if you played a quarterback with a pulse in this game, what could have happened, or you play a team with better wide receivers, what could happen. But yeah, I think, I don't know. I'm some good, some bad right now.
Yeah, I really just think that like my main concerns haven't really been like cleared up, and like the things that I felt good about with this team have just been enforced more. Like I still feel good about the running game. I feel pretty good about Stockton. I am concerned about the offensive line though, because they had some more injuries today with Morris and Freeling going down.
That's a good call.
But yeah, the pass rush, I didn't expect in it. Like even if Georgia had come out and had like 4 sacks in this game, like it probably wouldn't have been much reason to be like, oh, the pass rush is fine now. But that didn't really happen either. So yeah, I have a lot of the same concerns on defense. I mean, it's hard. Like Kentucky should have had a touchdown at the end of that first half, or at the very least some points. I'm not going to consider like a 26-yard missed field goal like a red zone stop. I'm not going to consider like
that's fair
bad throw at the end of a 20-play 8-minute drive that you intercept. That's not really ultimately a win for the defense when you're trying to do what Georgia's trying to do. So Yeah, I think they kind of just benefited from playing against the worst team in the SEC, and we'll see what Auburn does next week. But
I'm a little more torn on the 20 play drive. Obviously, you gave up so many third downs and fourth downs on a 20 play drive, but you did get the stop at the end, as opposed to the actual missing the 26-yard field goal. Like you didn't really get a stop. It didn't feel like in that one. But no, that's a good call about the offensive line. You started Dontrell Glover and Juan Gaston, two true freshmen on the right side, and then Monroe Freeling goes out. Micah Morris at least did come back in the game, so that's a good sign. But yeah, you had Bo Hughley at the left. I don't know if it's Hughley or Hughley. So I kind of say it like I'm in the middle of saying both.
It's my dad.
There we go. What's up? What's up, Father Underwood?
You're awesome, man. I love your podcast. You guys are
I appreciate it, man.
I want to meet you at some point.
Yeah, I came.
Yes, sir.
Came home for the weekend, so
good stuff, man.
But yeah, I didn't actually believe it.
But yeah, I think Daniel Calhoun came in for a little bit, so Micah Morris ended up coming back in that left guard spot. But yeah, the offensive line, I mean, they're still able to run the ball well, so that's good. They were able to run the ball against Tennessee and Alabama, so that's encouraging. But yeah, I mean, you have to be worried about the offensive line at this point. I don't know what the diagnosis is. I haven't heard on Monroe Freeling. I don't know if you have.
I haven't either. Did you see how Calhoun got beat on his first snap after Morris got hurt? They ran that stunt like right at him and got there immediately. Like that was rough. It's just concerning. Like any five, if they can get a five guy, like a defined five dudes to be their offensive line, and they're like, all right, this is the group, I'd feel way better. But they just haven't been able to do that because there's been so many on and off injuries and guys shuffling in and out of the lineup. And I'm just afraid that's going to lead to the same thing as last year, as just the offensive line, even with all the talent and all the three NFL players that got drafted from that line that year, they just never gelled as a complete unit. And that can really doom your team ultimately. And I mean, luckily for this year, like the running game just has been a lot better in general, and that can do a lot for you. But if your linemen are just always injured and you're constantly having new lineups, it's just hard to build a rapport.
Yeah, no, that's fair. And I guess I didn't realize this, but it says that's the only play Daniel Calhoun played the entire game. So Morris was back in after that. So Morris was dealing with a hamstring injury. According to Kirby Smart, Morris was dealing with a hamstring and that his shoulder popped out on Saturday. So Morris is just, it feels like he's been leaving the game at some point every game so far this year. But as far as the update on Monroe Freeling, Kirby Smart says it's an ankle. Don't know how severe it was. Tried to put pressure on it and couldn't. So that's not a great sign. Says it's the dangest thing I've ever seen. Kirby Smart talking about the consistent injuries on Georgia's offensive line to this point. So yeah, it really is. And then Jordan Thomas, I think, left the game in the fourth quarter. I don't know what that injury was, but yeah, I think Jordan Hall came back in. Oh my goodness. Not that we're doing play-by-play here, but Florida just blocked a punt.
Oh, they did?
Went out for a safety. So they're up 19-7 right now with like 2 minutes left in the first half. So Gators, this was my upset pick of the week. I don't know if we do picks on this show, but on the Chase Thomas podcast every Thursday, this was Florida over Texas was my upset pick of the week. We need
to start doing picks on our show again. We did it like 1 week. Remember, it was fun.
Yeah, we need to hit on the other SEC games for sure. But yeah, that's I guess the injury updates. Those couple, because Jordan Hall came back in the game, I believe, right after he got.
Believe he did.
So that was another one.
He did. I definitely held my breath when Jordan Hall got injured, because that was like the last guy I want to see go down.
Yeah, and he's played really well to this point. Been one of the better defensive linemen to this point, I should say. I don't see an update as far. It just says left game in the injury report, so maybe he didn't come back in. I swear I saw him in. I saw his helmet on at another
I
point.
think he came back for like special teams. I swear he did.
Okay,
Maybe,
so you could be right.
but he might not have played another defensive snap. They might have just, I don't know.
No, and I'm not sure what that official injury reporting means. Like if that's, I don't know. I haven't looked at that, but yeah. So that's the injury report. I guess next week, Georgia goes to Jordan-Hare Stadium, Auburn Tigers, and like I said, someone with a better passing game. Maybe this is not, but it is someone with. And Kentucky's receivers look pretty good. They had some guys that look pretty explosive, but
player, man. That guy's
good. for sure. And that Macklin looked pretty good. But Cam Coleman is next to Jeremiah Smith as good a receiver as any receiver in all of college football. So we like to be handsy. I don't know what the over-under is on pass interferences that Cam Coleman forces next week in Jordan-Hare Stadium, but hopefully it's less than 2 because I'm gonna guarantee we do it at least once. We should do it at least once to just prevent a big play from happening because that dude's a baller. Yeah. So that's my number one concern going into next week with what Georgia's secondaries kind of looked like to this point. And maybe like you're saying, maybe it's not all in the secondary, but with just the end result and Georgia's ability to not create pressure, whoever you want to put the blame on, I'm definitely worried about opponents' passing games to this point. So Jackson Arnold hasn't looked great, but whether we saw what Eric Singleton looked like last year for Georgia Tech, had a couple big plays against us, and yeah, Cam Coleman, a little concerned about those playmakers for Auburn.
Yeah, well, I mean, we'll get more into it on Monday, but that's shaping up to be a game, man. Auburn is good. Auburn is very good, and Georgia has some, I think, very clear weaknesses at this point defensively that they're going to go after. And I mean, Cam Coleman is as good as they come. So
yeah, and also like we're talking about Florida. Like Florida's 1-3 coming into this game, and scoring 11 points a game in their last 3 games. Like everyone doesn't, and that's a team that's been bad. No one loses to everyone. You don't lose all of the games. So, that's kind of what my logic was. Like Florida's gonna look better because they've looked so bad the last 3 games. Auburn has not even looked that bad, but they haven't beaten Oklahoma. They haven't beaten A&M. They're going to beat someone, and the percentage of the probability of it increases when they're in Jordan-Hare Stadium. So it's not going to be an easy one, but the fact that Georgia already has the Neyland Stadium, notch on their belt to this point has to make you feel a little good. But yeah, that's it's going to be a big one next week. I don't think they've announced the time, but it is a night game. So it's either
I saw that they're like 7:30, 7:45, or 8. It's like, guys, pick one. They're all within 15 minutes of each other.
It basically just determines if it's at ABC, ESPN, or SEC Network, essentially.
They're all owned by the same damn company anyway. Who cares?
Well, that's the thing, but you want the best one on ABC, So I guess with Georgia winning this game and Auburn, it's probably not going to. I don't know what the other options are if I'm looking at it, but I think it's a pretty loaded week. There's only like a couple weeks a year where we get like a full SEC slate. Like we get like 8 SEC games. It might be one of those next week where it's like a full slate of SEC games, if I'm not mistaken. Let me see here. I'll pull it up as well.
Auburn's got a bye week this week too, so they're gonna come in ready.
Yeah, it's not a full slate because Ole Miss is playing Washington State, and then Georgia the week after. But yeah, Georgia, Auburn, Florida, Texas A&M, and then South Carolina, LSU, and Arkansas, Tennessee, Alabama, Missouri, Oklahoma, Texas. It's wasn't Oklahoma, Texas? Wasn't it always a noon kickoff?
Yeah, it usually is.
So that's a 3:30.
Yeah, that's. And John isn't playing either. That's gonna kind of suck to not have material out there. But anyway,
do we know that?
We don't for sure. But I thought that like when they first announced the timetable, I thought the big thing that everyone was saying was like, oh, he's not gonna play Red River, but he might. I really hope he does. John Mateer is awesome, and I really want him to play against Texas.
Gotcha. So yeah, so we got 6 SEC games next week, and then Ole Miss versus Washington State as well. So I guess it comes down to LSU, South Carolina, or Florida and versus Texas A&M could be the 3:30 game, and then one of those will be like the option of Georgia and Auburn for like which one's on ABC and which one's on ESPN or something. I guess Alabama, Missouri is the noon kickoff. So Alabama, Missouri at noon, and Oklahoma, Texas at 3:30. And then, man, that is a loaded day. That is going to be that is one of the best weeks of the whole year. I haven't even looked at the who are the other top 25 teams playing next week?
Oregon is playing Indiana, I think, or
Ohio State at Illinois. Yeah, Indiana at Oregon.
That's a top 10 game.
Yeah, that's some big time games. Brands wise, you got Michigan and USC.
Mm-hmm.
Virginia Tech, Georgia Tech. Yeah, so that's a loaded slate next week, but that's next week. We're still not done with this week, sir. So I appreciate everyone who's tuned in live. We'll get back to these games. Vanderbilt, Alabama's at 7-7 here in the second quarter. So we still got football left to watch today, sir. But that's all for us. And Georgia's 35-14 win over the Kentucky Wildcats. Almost forgot T-Bone, Thomas, go Dogs, shouting out in the live chat. Appreciate you tuning in live. But until next time, sir, go Dogs.
Go Dogs.
College football is even more exciting when you've got some action on the line, and the games are even better when you're cashing in. And the Voice of College Football is the place to be to get the greatest value. Start with my picks. 75% against the money line, 58% against the spread, and I've got a 40-plus year track record. 11-0 in the college football playoff for me last year against the money line, 8-3 against the spread. And I'm just the warm-up act. Steve Merrill of Wager Talk is our ace in the hole, show stopper. 7 years with the Voice of College Football, over 30 years in the industry. Steve gives us analysis on all the big games, but you can't miss Steve's weekly under-the-radar pick. 28-12 against the spread the last 3 years. You also get picks from some of our top analysts here at the Voice of College Football, including Corey Bratta, Matt Zemek, and Steve Dace. Check out those numbers. Become a YouTube or Patreon member for just $99 per month. Go to the main channel on YouTube, click join, and then select a betting tier. Do the same thing on Patreon. Make 2025 a winner now.